Hi there, this is John Kierstead from Arctic Spas, Vancouver Island. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about cabinetry and some accessories that we sell to help you with your cabinetry. So there's a lot of talk in the industry about the going away from wood. We at Arctic Spas, we love cedar. You'll see in a lot of the spas our high-end classic and custom series spas has this clear Western red cedar. It's a very expensive wood, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, but first I want to show you the alternative. So what you see on most spas is this no maintenance type product. They call it no maintenance cabinetry. Arctic does it a little different. So with our custom and classic series no maintenance cabinets, we have the top and bottom rail, which even on our regular cabinets, see the top and bottom rail. And that's because our cabinet on those spas is a structural cabinet, meaning it's part of the overall strength and construction of the spa. So we have to do our no maintenance different. But where most of the industry has gone is this kind of paneling, right? You'll see, and it comes in lots of different colors and shades, and some guys have even gone to even different looks because they can use a film on this stuff to make it look like other things. But it's really just plastic. And why has the industry done that? In fact, if you look at this one here, you can see this has got a kind of a smooth finish, but it looks like wood, right? Whereas this, they built the grain in because this was an extruded finish. It was done as part of the extrusion. The truth is that getting these woods has become very expensive. So most companies use this. Now there's actually a difference between this one and this one. This one here is called wood plastic composite, which means there's wood as well as plastic, and they make the beads and then they extrude that, right? And that extrusion process is expensive. Because most manufacturers don't use top and bottom rails, it becomes quite expensive on Arctic Spas to get this done for us especially these corner pieces. These are actually injected to create that big piece. They actually, I believe they're injected. They used to be injected. Now I'm thinking that they may be extruded as a big piece and then cut down. And you can see this is chamfered, which means it's got like an angle cut in it, and it's bullnosed. As well, there's a dado, which is a groove that's put in the bottom so that when this wood is put under here, this will never pop out. You can see in the bottom, there's also a groove in the bottom as well. So this actually goes right into this extrusion right here, and as well as in the top. So it's sandwiched together. So this becomes very, very secure in there. So you never have to worry about this paneling popping off or otherwise. Whereas with this type of cabinetry, it's not uncommon, especially I see on old foam-filled spas, when the foam absorbs water and they freeze, they expand, and actually that's why we call this a skirt, because it'll actually pop that bottom part out. Because this part's tucked in underneath here, it'll actually come out like this and kind of looks like a skirt at that point. But it's not, it's just been secured to the bottom of there. There's a substructure under there, and then we secure it to that. Usually they staple the pieces together, sometimes they screw them. A lot of times this is one or two pieces that tongue and groove together, so they fit together like this, and that's your corner piece. On all of our cabinetry, all of this cabinetry is designed to be removed, or doors be removed from this type of cabinetry. And our reason for that is, we've mentioned before, so that we have access to all the stuff under there from any side of the spa. So we want to be able to remove the cabinet from around. On most spas, they don't bother to do that because it's filled up with foam. You'd be pulling this away and you'd be just a big sponge there that you wouldn't help you diagnose anything. So they don't really worry about that, whereas we have to worry about having access all the way around. So let's talk about maintenance. They say no maintenance cabinet, which really, what are they talking about? Well, I don't have to stain this every couple of years, right? But what I tell people is it's actually no maintenance possible. If you have sunlight coming down on this, you're going to see that the one side that gets more sun exposure is going to fade, and the side that's not exposed to the sun won't fade. So over time, you're going to get a discoloration between the two. And so what can you do about that? Well, really, you can't do anything. I suppose you could paint it, but then if you're painting this, you're kind of in the same boat as you would be with a more traditional wooden cabinet, where from time to time you have to restain them. Now, why do I like no maintenance? Is for some people, they just don't want to be bothered with ever having to stain this stuff. But I do warn them that if you're in sunlight, over time, it's going to be normal for this to change color. All plastics, regardless of whether we put UV inhibitor in them, over time that UV inhibitor gets used up. And so you'll get kind of a fading or a crazing, they call it, of the plastic. Now, with the more traditional cedar cabinets, I'll just move this out of the way. With the cedar cabinets, first of all, I like to talk to people about the cedar itself. You know, this is sustainably grown cedar. There's really two methods that they use. Either as they cut areas of cedar, they're always replanting with more cedar, and then they go to different patches, and then over the years, then they end up going back to the original patch that has regrown up. So it's like they're farming the cedar trees and then using them over. It's important to understand, though, that most of the time, cedar and pine and spruce and all those evergreen trees, they have a lot of branches that come off of them, and that's what causes the knots in the wood. So in order to get clear, you have to go from the very center of the log, and you have to, it's a very limited amount. There can't be, for clear cedar, there can be no knots whatsoever. Then they have like select tight knot, whereas a certain size of really tightly small knots could be allowed in select tight knot, and then you just have the regular cedar where you can have quite large knots and stuff in that. Obviously, the most expensive of these woods is this. And again, a 2x4, this is a 2x6 that's been cut down. And then this is 5/8 clear cedar, tongue and groove. It's expensive wood, and it's gotten more and more expensive because the method for farming this and stuff is not inexpensive. The other method that they use to harvest this wood is they'll go into an area and they manage the forest. So they want to prevent forest fires and the lightning from causing forest fires. So they want to go in and selectively choose trees. So they'll choose a tree, they'll cut that tree down, and then a helicopter will take that to the area where they strip it of branches and load up the trucks and stuff. But it's an expensive way to harvest this. So it is sustainable. This stuff here is actually almost all BC cedar, sustainably harvested. We have a company in Chilliwack that's been supplying this wood to us for more than 30 years, so we can still get it. But it is really hard to get, and during the recent pandemic, the prices of all woods and cedar just went through the roof. Like, it literally cost twice as much or 3 times as much to be able to build a cabinet. But why do I love it? Well, this is also, in this area is famous for totem poles. In fact, the city of Duncan, where we're at, is called the City of Totems. And what's interesting is that these totem poles are hundreds and hundreds of years old, and they will last for hundreds and hundreds of years more, because cedar is the type of wood that, insects don't eat it because it's got a large number of tannins in it, so it'd be poisonous to them. In fact, in the factory, they have to wear masks whenever you're dealing with this stuff, because it's actually toxic to humans to breathe in the dust of this as well. It's probably toxic to breathe in any dust, but the cedar tannins and stuff like that is poisonous if you breathe it in. So this wood lasts a very, very long time. And in fact, even if it became waterlogged, there's a bunch of recovery efforts done in a lot of the local lakes around here, because they used to put the trees in the logs and then roll them down the rivers and stuff. And sometimes the logs would become waterlogged and sink to the bottom. Well, now, because the price of wood is so expensive, they actually go in there, and divers go down and use bags of air to bring these back up to the surface. They dry them out, because all of this wood is kiln dried. So it has to be dried to a very specific moisture level, so that it won't expand and contract further, and so that you don't get checking. Checking is cracking of the wood. So we kiln dry it so that doesn't happen. If this wood was left unfinished, meaning I didn't put this stain on this, what would happen is over time it would oxidize and the UV would cause this to slowly gray. And you may see some old split rail fences and stuff when you're out driving. Those fences can last years and years and years because this wood is so resistant to rotting, which makes it the perfect wood for a wet environment like a hot tub. So we regularly take back Arctic spas that are 10, 15, even 20 years old, and it'll be grayed out and kind of look, it won't look really pretty. Here we get this kind of mold and stuff that can grow on it and that sort of thing. But the nice thing is that, with some elbow grease, usually I get my daughter or one of my staff to sand one of those old cabinets down, and then we restain it, and it literally looks 99% brand new, because you can take off a layer, the layer that's oxidized, and underneath it's still this beautiful cedar, and then we restain it. It looks great. Now some people go, well, I don't want to be restaining my spa all the time. So there's a product that, regardless of whether you have a cedar cabinet or you have a no maintenance cabinet, there's a product that you should be using. Everybody should have this. Okay, it's a product that we call Cover Cabinet Renew. Now Cover is obvious. We got the covers on the spa. It's made out of a vinyl. This is a UV inhibitor largely. There's some conditioners in there to soften the vinyl, but the UV inhibitor is the part that we're talking about right here. So if you have a no maintenance cabinet, this UV inhibitor is going to prevent that and slow the process of oxidizing and crazing on the plastic down, so you don't get the fading happening as often. If you use it on the cedar, what it does is, again, it puts a barrier between that and the stain. So this is way easier to apply than stain. Staining, you use a cloth and a brush, and you brush it on, you kind of wipe it, and it looks really nice. Believe it or not, in the factory we can stain a cabinet in under 5 minutes, and then it has to dry. The doors get done in a separate spot, but it's the same sort of thing. It happens quite quickly. And we use Olympic Maximum, which is a really, really good stain. We've tried a number of different ones over the years. We like that stain because it's water-based and it dries very, very quickly, which in the manufacturing process means that this spa can get wrapped up in its packaging and put out for delivery much faster. Some of the other stains that are out there, like Seekins and Bear tongue oil, that sort of stuff, there's a lot of really good stains. The thing is they take a long time to dry. So from a manufacturing point of view, it doesn't work so well. But sometimes people will order this unstained, and you can custom series spas on Arctic, you can customize them. So you can order this without stain, and if you're staining your deck a particular color or otherwise, or you want to match your house or something like that, you can have it stained with any stain that you want. You do the staining, not us, unless you want to have us, because we do have a service where if you don't like staining your cabinet, you can call us up. We'll do a touch up of the cedar, spot sand it, and restain it, make it look brand new for you. But if you don't want to be restaining very often, use this Cover Cabinet Renew. It's very easy. You just spray it on, apply it with the cloth, and you're done. So you can do the whole thing, do your cover at the same time. And these UV inhibitors prevent the sunlight from oxidizing the vinyl and from oxidizing the stain on there. So your spa stays really nice, and it'll cause the bubbles to also, or the water to bubble up on there and kind of form the beads of water. So it's really a really great product. Give it a good shake before you start using it. Very inexpensive way and simple way to keep your cabinet looking brand new. So whether you have a no maintenance cabinet or a traditional cedar cabinet or even a redwood cabinet from some of the US manufacturers, if you can still get it, use the Cover Cabinet Renew, and you won't be getting extra maintenance on your spa. It's a real simple way to do it. This is far better than some of the other products that are available, like you might think of Armor All or some of these things. This has been designed specifically for spa use. So drop by an Arctic Spa store and pick up your Cover and Cabinet Renew. Thank you for listening to our video, and I hope to see you in one of our stores soon. I'm John Kierstead from Arctic Spas, Vancouver Island.